hop on today to talk about something I experienced today. And it's something that all of us will experience multiple times throughout our entire life. And it is painful. But I believe that it is also part of the process in becoming a better creative and ultimately a better human. And that is the experience of failure. And today I got a truckload of it dumped on my head, and it was a frustrating morning, but also brought some time for self-reflection. And I don't say this experience to throw a pity party or say, woe is me, but more to give context to why I'm talking about failure and how I am trying to take and learn lessons from this experience. This morning, we got a call letting us know that a project that we've been working on, we'd been lining up for about 2.5 months, just fell through. And we were supposed to shoot this within 3 weeks' time. It was something that I was very much looking forward to. There's some travel involved. There's some great storytelling components to it. We're going to be interviewing some awesome people. And I was really excited for this project. And we were told for one reason or another, it fell through and that they wouldn't be moving forward with it. But hey, maybe we'll hit you up for some projects in the future. Ouch. And then immediately, probably 20 something minutes later, Mike got another call. And we had been waiting to hear from this agency about a pitch that I had put together with both Mike, my business partner, and our designer, Kato. We'd been working on this deck. I'd been working on this concept and trying to really be creative, trying to find a really interesting through line. This agency had come to us with this awesome project. It was tourism. It was for a place that I was really excited to tell the story of. And basically they reached out, and after all that work, they said, hey, we absolutely loved what you guys put together. Thought you did a great job. In fact, you were the team, and Mitch, you were the director that we wanted to work with. But when we took all the options to the client, they ended up going with a different director. Now, obviously, I felt a bit responsible for us not getting this because we were told that the client liked the story that this other director had pulled together and the creative this other director had pulled together a bit more than they had liked mine. And the reason that's so significant, because you might say, hey, Mitch, that's life. That's business. You win some, you lose some. And that is so true. But for me, I do feel a big responsibility for all the different individuals who rely on Film Lab getting work. We have 14 different people who work here at Film Lab full time. That's a big burden upon myself and Mike and everybody else who works on these projects. But then also each one of us have our own families. I have 2 kids. I have an amazing wife. I have a dog, that we have to feed and provide for and take care of and think about. And so not only am I bummed that we didn't get these projects for just the creative exploration and stretching and growing ourselves creatively, but also how it impacts our business and ultimately, providing for these amazing teammates that work with us and our families. So I felt a big weight today to lose well over $200,000 worth of work in the course of, 20, 30 minutes was a big bummer, because these projects were supposed to land and happen in March, which March is basically here, 2025. And that was revenue that we were, kind of counting on. Maybe we counted our eggs before they hatched, but that's what we were really looking forward to and we were relying on. And so obviously this morning I was feeling a bit sorry for myself. I was feeling kind of down and a little bit embarrassed, frustrated. But as I kind of dwelt in this, and obviously today I'd already slotted the time to talk to and record a podcast, I thought, what better thing to talk about than failure? Because that's something that I'm experiencing right now. That's something that I've experienced numerous times throughout my career. And that's something that honestly every human listening to this has experienced, is currently experiencing, or will in the future. And I think failure is actually a very important thing. It's something that teaches us and helps us grow and develop. And one of the things that I was taught growing up is that it is so much more important to try and to fail than to never try at all. So That's what I'm out here doing. Being a creative, being an entrepreneur is basically just stacking up tons of failures, tons of lessons, tons of experiences where you put your heart out there to be judged by the world and to be deemed as either good, not good, or maybe just honestly ignored. And that sometimes is the most painful experience of it all, is to create something, put it out there, and be deemed as not even worth paying attention to. That's painful. That's something that we all experience. But if I hadn't been taught from an early age that it is okay to fall, to fail, to struggle, because you will learn from and become better from those struggles. If I hadn't been taught that, then I probably never would have been an entrepreneur, probably never would have gotten married, never would have been a creative. And all the good things that have come into my life and the things that I now define myself as a disciple, as a good friend, all these different things. I would not be able to define myself as those things if I had been afraid of failure, because frankly, I never would have tried any of them. All good things are hard, and all good things on the path to success, on the path to winning, along that path, it's going to be strewn with interactions and experiences with failure and pain along the way. And that's to be expected. The path to any good thing is going to require that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about my experiences and what I've learned from failure. And I've got kind of 3 lessons that I wanted to talk about how you can utilize failure to grow and become better. Lesson number 1 that I've learned is I have never regretted failing. I have only regretted not trying. When I look back at the dark times in my life, kind of the black marks on my creative or journey through humanity, I really look back, and all the times I failed, maybe there were times where it was embarrassing. Maybe there were times where I was like, that was a hard time. I'm always able to look back on those failures or those experiences kind of as the good old days, the times where it was transformative because I put my heart out there. And although I fell flat on my face, maybe I failed, maybe I looked bad, maybe I set myself back in some way, I could say I left it all out on the field. And I could confidently say I gave it my all, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And obviously, I'm sad by that, but I'm now going to take that lesson, become better from it, and move on. Versus the times where I was too afraid to even try. I was too afraid to put myself out there, to go make that new friend, I had maybe a creative idea that I didn't execute on, only months later to see somebody else do something similar and say, man, that could have been me. And I'm filled with this regret. Every time I have felt regret, it's because I didn't try, not because I tried and then failed. And so let that be a lesson, because along the way, I have tried to start other companies. I have tried to pull off other creative concepts or other projects or creative endeavors, and I have failed. Strewn along my path, there are many back there behind me, there are many failed businesses. I started a nonprofit with my friends that was helping people who were struggling with addiction. We were speaking at schools. My friend was making a music album out of it. I was starting to create videos and pieces on social media that hopefully spread some goodness into the world and talked about people who struggle with addiction. And in that experience, partnered with somebody who ended up not being super trustworthy and ended up not finding what I was doing valuable. And after putting 6-7 months in, pushed me out, and I was left with nothing, not even a camera. That was a very difficult, painful experience. And ultimately, you could say it was a failure. But I do not regret that experience at all, because I put my heart out there. I did something that was important to me, and I did have an impact, and I felt like I'd done something that I was proud of. And while it may have set me back in the pursuit of other things, maybe it was embarrassing to now, be on the outs from something that was really important to me, I learned a lot, and I became better because of it. And so that's what I want to encourage you guys to do. Do not be afraid of failing. Be afraid of never trying in the first place. Lesson number 2, the fastest way to get better and to ultimately win is to fail fast and to learn lessons from those failures. I don't think failing for the sake of failing is what's good. I think failing or making a mistake or having a setback or experiencing pain of any kind is only good if you're able to take a little bit of time to reflect, to look back on that experience and to start asking questions. Well, why was this such a painful experience for me? How could I have maybe adjusted and done something better? What can I learn from this entire experience? And as I take time to reflect, and as we do that, whenever we fail, we're able to take something that might have just been something we look back on with pain or we tried to ignore or avoid, and we can now rewrite that story and turn it into, instead of a stumbling block, it turns into a stepping stone for us to become better, to rise up and to improve. And if we're not learning from the lessons that we're trying to be taught, then those lessons are probably going to come back trying to teach us again. And so I would rather be good about listening to the lessons that are being taught to me through the experiences and painful experiences that I'm having along the way. Because if I can learn the lesson now, next time something else comes up, I will know how to better navigate it. I will know how to be a better human or avoid that pitfall altogether. So learn from your experience or not, the choice is yours, but either way, you are going to experience pain. You are going to experience failure. So why not take some time to reflect and understand it better and improve yourself along the way? That's something that I think is really important because many people, including myself, there have been many times where I've just kind of sat in the pain or in the embarrassment of something and I've kind of tried to shut it out. I've tried to avoid it and not take accountability. And many times it's a lot easier to say, woe is me because this situation is hard or because my feelings were hurt or I'm embarrassed by this thing. So I'd rather just ignore it, or this circumstance or that person treated me unfairly. So X, Y, and Z. That is not a good enough excuse to rob yourself of the joy and the experience that you can have of growth by reflecting and looking back on an experience. Taking accountability for your failures and your mistakes and then taking the time to reflect with yourself so you can learn from them is an experience you should never rob yourself of. So probably one of my favorite hacks is learning how to rewrite your failures into successes and into lessons. And if you can do that, you're going to be a happier person, a more well-equipped person for the challenges and things that are going to face you in the future. Lesson number 3 from experiencing failure is that failure has taught me humility. I think if we as humans were constantly hitting home runs, everything we did was a win, we probably wouldn't be very good people because we wouldn't ever have to empathize. We would think we were all that and that we were better than other people. When really learning from and experiencing failure teaches humility. It helps me realize that, hey, maybe I'm not the most creative person in the world. Maybe I need to collaborate more. Maybe I need to spend more time than other people need to be able to get into that creative mindset or flow. Whatever it is, having that humility is an important gift and lesson in and of itself. And that is something that I don't take lightly. And I think if we all were just a little bit more humble and we looked at our mistakes as something that grounds us and reminding us that, yeah, well, I make mistakes, I'm still learning, well, so are you, and that's okay. We're on this journey together. Let's all be friends and let's all work together on becoming better people. I'm getting a little off track, but I do think that's important, having humility and letting these experiences we have humble us so that we can learn to work a little bit harder, ask for more help, whether that be from friends or people in our circle, whether that be from a higher power, whatever that may be. Having humility, I think, is also an important part of having humanity. That's what keeps us grounded and keeps us connected to who we are and what we're all trying to do here. So that is something that I've been experiencing today, is reflecting on and asking those questions. Well, could I have maybe done more here, here, here? And ultimately just reminding myself, hey, not everything Film Lab does is an instant guarantee. Not everything we do is a win. We are going to have hard knocks and lessons along the way. And it's important to stay humble, to stay hungry, and to keep moving, to keep doing. And that reminds me, I heard somebody say, some people think about it, some people talk about it, some people dream about it. Well, I'm going to be about it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be about it. I'm going to learn from these failures. I'm going to continue to improve myself and watch where we're at a year from now, 2 years from now, 10 years from now, because I'm going to turn these lessons, I'm going to take this humility and this hunger that I feel in me right now, and it's going to galvanize me to do bigger, better, and greater things. Because now more than ever, I want to make the best work that I've ever made. I want to tell stories like I never have before. I want to be generous. I want to be daring. I want to take risks. And I believe that's going to pay off. And those lessons and those feelings have come to me because I feel humbled right now. I just experienced failure. And so the lesson again is failure is not a bad thing. Never trying is. So I hope today and throughout your life, you take a shot, you take a risk. And yes, you may risk failure, but at least you'll be able to say, I put it all out on the field and I'm better because of what I learned and experienced. And that's how I feel today. So anyway, appreciate you guys listening in. Obviously wanted to talk about this while it's still fresh, while it's on my mind, and share some of the lessons I'm learning along the way. Trying to be as authentic as humanly possible. But I'm grateful for you guys, grateful for the community, and grateful for the chance to kind of reflect here on this podcast with you guys. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one.